Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. So today, guys, I have an exciting success story of my own that I'm actually going to share with you. It's a story that I struggled with for many years, and I actually turned it around. So it involves everyone as you pushed out. And I think this story is a really good example of how we can actually change our reality by changing our story, and that everyone in our reality is just us pushed out, right? So before I dive into it, guys, guess what? We have a new manifesting journal. I love it. I use it. I got these made because I like them. And if you're like me, like paper and pen, then they're great. This is actually a journal where you can write out your goals, your affirmations, and for the day of what you want to manifest. You can either use this to focus on your big goal, or you can use it to manifest little things throughout the day to build your belief in the law of assumption. I usually do this just on paper and pen, but I got cool little books made. And of course, we got a mental diet journal. This will actually help you to create a mental diet for what you want to manifest. So link in the description below if you're interested. If you're not, all good. Guys, we love giving away free stuff around here. So we do have a free course, how to find your blocks to manifest anything fast. So definitely check out the link in the description below. Oh, and I should say, one of our clients got major success using the daily manifestation journal. Within was a week, their SP came back and they revised their breakup. So, I mean, really amazing. I intend that they write in the full story for us. They just went and wrote a small one and said that they would, quick little email, and said they would write in a longer one later. So I'm really excited to see that. So guys, let's dive into my success story. So how my success story is, okay, so first of all, I'd like to say, yes, you know what? It's totally possible to, use your subconscious mind to completely heal yourself 100%, without going to doctors or anything like that. You do have the power in your mind to do that. Your subconscious mind can do that, can restore you to perfect health. The other way you can look at it as well is that, you created, or I created, if we're going to look at it from my point of view, doctors and medication and all this to actually help us to be healthier. So my story, okay, is with doctors. Okay. So all throughout my life, right, I always had this thing, even before I knew law of assumption, right, I always had this thing that, I could never find a good doctor. Doctors would always misdiagnose me, and there was a couple times in my life that I actually had a serious illness that I got misdiagnosed for years and years and years. And I remember I got my gallbladder out on my 31st birthday, and the doctor said to me, "Oh my God, why didn't you come to the doctor sooner? You nearly died. We barely got it out in time." And I was like, are you kidding me? 7 years I complained about pain in that area, and not one doctor found it until I finally went to an emergency room. And apparently it was the last minute. So there was so many times that I had that happen in my life. And, and finally, now that I know law of assumption, a few years back, I was like, you know what? No, I am so done. I am so done with not having good medical care. So I sat down one day and I was like, let me find out my story. What's my story here? So part of my story was that I'm not good enough to have good medical care. Part of my story was that, doctors can never figure it out. Part of my story is doctors don't care. Part of my story was, I'm just a number to them, right? So when I really, and then the other part of my story was, well, I always leave and they say they don't know what it is. So those were the 5 main factors of my negative thoughts, my beliefs, my assumptions that I was pushing out to create this. So what I actually did was identified those. And then I said, okay, well, do I want to hold that story? And my answer was no. So then what I started saying was, you know what? I always get a good family doctor. My family doctor always figures out what's wrong with me immediately. I'm good enough to have good medical care and to be, diagnosed and treated properly. I'm, good enough to be healthy every day, right? So again, I just want to say, okay, I'm not saying that, you can manifest great health with your thoughts and all this, but I'm sharing my success story and my journey from pre-knowing law of assumption to when I learned it. So when I learned it, I decided I'm changing the story. So I identify that those components of my negative story and I changed them. And then all of a sudden, I'm not kidding you, in British Columbia, Canada, I'm sure anybody in British Columbia knows the doctor shortage, right? It was so funny when me and Andrew moved out to the new city that we live in now. We needed a family doctor because we moved like 2 hours away from where we used to live. And everybody was like, there's no doctors out here. There's no doctors. And it was so funny. Within 1 month, me and Andrew found a doctor that was only accepting one patient, but then because we were a couple, a family, he was going to take us both. So we both got a family doctor within like a month of being out here. And our family doctor is like absolutely amazing. I've had the best like care for, you know, my health, you know, like if I say, you know, cut myself, any physical thing that I've had to see, like he's been absolutely amazing. And any doctor I've had to see when he hasn't been around has been absolutely amazing, you know. And, you know, it's funny because it does still take a little bit of work. I remember not too long ago, you know, something was physically wrong with me and I needed to go to the doctor. And I was like, oh, I thought to myself, they're going to misdiagnose me. They're going to tell me they don't know what it is. And I was like, no, Amanda, no, we're not falling into that story. I'm like, the news story is going to be, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out quickly. And I'm going to leave there with an answer and a treatment. And then sure enough, that's exactly what happened. But I had to catch myself from not falling into the old story, right? So, you know, I invite you guys, like, you know, everyone is you pushed out. So, you know, when it comes to changing any situation, any, you know, person, is you want to look at what is the thoughts, the beliefs, the assumptions that you're creating them with, because that's so incredibly important. Is it partly because you don't feel like you're good enough, that you don't deserve to have it? Or is it your assumption about the other person? Or is it your assumption about things in general? So, I mean, I'm not going to, you know, I'm going to be straight up. I will use prescription medicine as a placebo effect. No problem. Like for me to be like, okay, that antibiotic is going to cure me and I take it for a week is a lot easier for me to wrap my head around and a lot quicker and totally the path of least resistance to get to what I want, which is being healthy, than me sitting here going, okay, I know my thoughts can create me to be healed. I know my thoughts can get rid of an infection. For me, that's going to take a lot more time and energy. And of course, if you can do that and heal yourself with your thoughts and not take the antibiotics, then go right ahead. You can definitely do that if you've got the belief behind it and, you know, and you can do that. But, you know, I'd always take the, you know, for me, it's easier because I've got a belief since I was a kid that antibiotics help, that, you know, doctors can give medication, you know, and I will go that route because for me, it's checked off the box. I don't have to put a lot into that mental diet because it's already a belief that I've created. So part of it, right, is when I think about it with creating, you know, is the question of, is it that important to me to be able to change my mind, to heal myself without antibiotics when I have the belief in the placebo effect, or, you know, the belief of my mind can just do it? Like what's the difference when they're both going to get me to where I want to go and I've already got the belief of the placebo effect? So that's just my explanation of why, you know, I will use the placebo effect with things that I've already got a belief on. Like, you know, I remember a client of mine years ago, she said she was, there was these little gummies or something, and it was like, I don't know, some like apple cider vinegar or something, but she had the belief that it would work to lose weight, and she did lose weight on it. So everything in your reality is a belief, you know, that you believe. So you want to make sure that your beliefs are in line with what you want, right? So yeah, I mean, anyone that you're changing, find out what your old story is. My recommendation, what I do, which helps me to manifest really quickly, is I take the path of least resistance. I'll figure out what my beliefs are, and then I will sort of work within those beliefs. So as an example is, okay, say I've got an infection, I will get the antibiotics knowing that that's going to work, rather than trying to cure the infection without antibiotics, even though I know it's possible, but I don't have that strong of a belief there. So rather than taking all that time and all that energy, putting it in there, like to do it that way, I'll just take the path of least resistance. So I will work in with my current beliefs to get me to manifest something a lot faster, right? So yeah, so that's my success story. You can change any situation. You just need to change the story that you have, identify your beliefs, change your story, and, you know, stick to that when it comes up again. You know, stick to your new story. And before you know it, that new story will become a belief. And now, I mean, years later, I expect great medical treatment, and I get great medical treatment. In fact, anywhere I go for medical treatment, I'm treated like a VIP. And trust me, it's a lot better than what it used to be prior to me not knowing the law of assumption. So, I think that's the best that we have is we have the knowledge to be conscious creators. We've always been creating. It's not something new. It's not something that just started. You've been doing it your whole life. And now you have the tools to consciously do it and to consciously steer your bus where you want it to go. You have the power and the tools and the knowledge to create what you want to see in your reality. I remember years ago when I was taking my NLP, my neuro-linguistic programming practitioner, they said you can wake up in the morning every day and write out how your day is going to be. You can sit down the night before, write out how your day is going to be, and you create your day. You can create your day exactly like that. You can do that with every single one of your days. And I was like, wow, I was so fascinated by that. But then it clicked to me. I'm like, we're already doing that anyway with our thoughts throughout the day. With every single thought that we have, we're creating what we're going to experience tomorrow. So instead of me sitting down and writing it the night before, every thought of every minute of every day that I have is building what my reality is going to look like tomorrow. So remember, anything in this world is absolutely possible. I just thought I'd share my story about how I changed something, because for me, it was a huge manifestation, because it really sucks when you don't feel good and you're creating that nobody can figure it out. Right? So it was very impactful to me, and I hope everybody can take something from it and learn from it. But ultimately, guys, go out there and start consciously creating so you can figure out how you create in your reality, because that is by far the most important thing, is that you know how to use your power. So thank you for joining me, liking, subscribing, commenting. And Jerry says hi, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.